Vice Chairman of Citizens for Good Government, and I live at 1712 North Arnault Road in Metairie. Today, I would like to speak about agenda items 94, 95, 106, 111, 114, and 118. And first, I'd like to ask the parish clerk, Ms. Eula Lopez, to identify the council members who have submitted statements to her indicating that they can vote in a fair, objective way and in the public's interest on the resolutions in these agenda items, because most of the councilmen have received campaign contributions in excess of $1,000 in the aggregate over the past 48 months from the companies who are financially benefiting from the resolutions in these agenda items. So, Ms. Lopez, do you have any statements from the council people? Okay. Unfortunately, something from 2004 just doesn't cut the mustard. The ordinance says, whenever any member of the Jefferson Parish Council in the discharge of an official legislative duty is called upon to vote on a matter which would economically benefit any person who has made campaign contributions to said council member during the 48 months prior to the date of the vote, which contributions in the aggregate exceeds the sum of $1,000, the council member shall abstain from the vote on the matter affecting said person or shall submit to the parish clerk immediately prior to said vote a statement signed by the council member stating the reasons why said member's vote would be fair, objective, and in the public's interest. Now, I have some documents here. This summarizes the contributions of each of the companies in those particular agenda items and the amounts that they have contributed to the council people. Now, I'd like to give this to the parish attorney, and I have copies. I also have copies for all the councilmen. Now, immediately prior to said vote does not mean in 2004. I have the affidavits from the councilmen from 2004, and this is not what the ordinance says. The council is required to obey the ordinances of Jefferson Parish, just as the citizens of Jefferson Parish have to obey the ordinances. Now, we feel then that the councilmen have to abstain from voting on the resolutions in these agenda items. Now, presumably, the reason for this ordinance is to call attention to the citizens of Jefferson when a councilman votes to economically benefit a campaign contributor who has made significant financial contributions to his campaign, so that the motives of the councilman and of the contributing companies can be scrutinized. Now, I'm sure that all the councilmen will say that these campaign contributions will not affect their vote, and this may be true. However, why these contributions will not affect their vote and we don't have, y'all have not provided us with these reasons. And what are the motives of the companies who are making these contributions? Could it be that these companies feel an obligation to contribute to the campaigns of the councilmen in order to ensure that they will continue to be awarded contracts? There's something very wrong with this. And by the way, Section 1-10 of the Code of Ordinances states, it shall be unlawful for any person to violate or fail to comply with any provision of this code, and the penalty for the violation of any provision of this code shall be a fine not exceeding $500 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or by both. The citizens of Jefferson are required to obey the law as stated in the Code of Ordinances, and we expect the councilmen also to obey the law and abstain from voting on the resolutions which I have identified if they have received excess contributions from the people financially benefiting. Councilmen, if you vote on these resolutions knowing that you're violating the law, then the citizens of Jefferson expect you to suffer the consequences for each illegal vote. That is a fine of up to $500 or 6 months in jail for each illegal vote. And Citizens for Good Government Chairman Margaret Baird read through this ordinance at the May meeting because we wanted to make sure that you all knew about it. And so there's no excuse for anybody not knowing about this, and we expect you all to obey the Code of Ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.